Hello, everybody. My name is Carlos from Mozambique in Africa. Welcome to another edition of Freestyle Talkz. We are here once again, this time in English. Again, it's 7 p.m. in Mozambique, and it's May 14th of 2021. It's a beautiful day here in Mozambique, and once again, we are using our network of freestyle to connect to the other side of the world. We are going all the way to Samoa, a very distant island from Mozambique, this time to speak with our guests, which I just showed you a quick video. He's a multi-talented man. He does. He's a financial advisor, he's an activist, he's a life coach, and he's above all a very talented, a very driven, and a very inspirational personality. And I'm very excited to have a conversation we are having now and share this with our audience. Just to also let you know, if you are new in this channel, please subscribe to our platform so you can stay updated to the next topics and next lives and conversations we will be having in the next weeks. And also be sure to check the previous lives we have. But let's do this. I'm very excited to bring him on board. So let me invite him, Dedreck, and to join me on the screen. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, really nice to have you here. I want to thank you for making time and for accepting our invitation.
No, thank you. Thank you for, it's such an honor to be here and just to be a guest on your show. It's actually my first time doing this. I mean, I've done like person-to-person interview, like going in, but this is my first time doing this. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to like talk with you and to share thoughts on your platform. I love what you do. I love that you bring in inspirational people because, you know, like with everything that's going on in the world right now, it's the least we can do is just to try and be a little bit more positive in everything that we do. So I'm happy I'm happy that you're doing this.
Thank you very much. And let me share this with you. I actually saw you for the first time on a WhatsApp status on those videos on WhatsApp. So one of my contacts on my phone list shared the WhatsApp video status with one of your dance videos. And, you know, I was really, wow, this guy is amazing. And that's why I tracked you and I tried to find you on Instagram. And when I found you, I was really tempted to immediately invite you. And I did that. I followed my gut and my instincts to call you. I looked over your page, of course. And I was really impressed with your work and your versatility. You know, you are a young man who is doing it all, who is full of vision and full of life and full of dreams. And I think that's something we definitely want to have here on Freestyle. And this is the type of personalities we want to engage with and to share and to expose to our viewers. So I'm really happy that you are here. We have already a first message coming in from one of our viewers. So Lam is saying she's very excited for this conversation. Welcome. A big kiss from Mozambique. Okay. So thank you very much. And other people, feel free to send us any text messages on the chat on YouTube, and we'll be sure to interact with you. And she's also sending a second message for you. You are amazing.
So thank you. Appreciate it.
Very good way to start the conversation. So first of all, I would like to ask you, because your country is not very familiar, maybe to my audience, to Mozambicans. And I would maybe like to ask you to tell us a little bit more about how's life in Samoa? How is COVID situation there? And how are things with a pandemic and the new normal as we are all trying
Right.
to adapt and adjust? How are things on that side?
Awesome. Oh, awesome. So I'm from American Samoa. I don't really know what life is in Africa, so I'm not going to say that it's pretty much the same. But we're all about our families. Like everything we do, it's for our families, right? And um, so before America was introduced to our islands, we were like very like we ate a lot of our fruits like raw. Like we did a lot of farming, we did a lot of fishing. Like everybody liked to do plantation, but like as we progress, as we grow, and as more and more technologies and new ways of living were introduced into the island, people kind of stopped doing it. I mean, there are some people that are still doing plantation and all of that because they still love it, and of course it's a tradition that should be kept alive because I mean, you guys know what's going on with the world and everything that's happening. But we there's Christianity is very much alive back home. um it's pretty much so because it's a territory to America now. So it's that's we have the same school system as America, the jobs and everything. It's pretty laid back home. So we don't pay taxes, we don't pay mortgages. Like the land is ours. That's why we're still citizens. Um, we're not citizens. We're internationals. No, we're nationals. Sorry. So our land is our land. So we don't owe America anything like our land. So we still have that freedom. So I think the minimum wage right now back home is $6 because everything is really cheap. And with the COVID, we don't have any COVID cases because the borders are still closed and the government is doing a really good job restricting. So they only have like one flight every month. And so there's a really good process they put up. There's a whole system that they've set out, for people to fly in and when they to stay quarantined. When they so they so the biggest route, so the main route to going home is through Hawaii. And so you get quarantined in Hawaii before you go home, you get vaccinated and all of that. You have to show proof of everything before you go home. So as of right now, there aren't any cases back home. God, thank you God for that. But other than that, everything is still normal back home. It's just the only thing is that we miss our families back home. With that happening, with the restrictions, it's kind of hard to go back home and see our families. And our parents are trying to like come up for that's the downfall to it because we have our parents that are trying to fly up for appointments, but they're not capable of doing that because of the restrictions. So the only reason why they would have to fly up here is because the hospitals back home are not as equipped as the hospitals here. So that's the downfall to that part. But other than that, American Samoa's blessed. Yeah.
So let me share with you maybe a little of Africa and Mozambican lifestyle, just to give you a comparison. So we are a big country actually in the southern area of Africa. We were colonized by Portuguese, by the Portuguese. So our official language is actually Portuguese. Our country has around 28 million, 29 million people. Uh, we are one of the poorest countries in Africa, in the bottom half of poor people, of poor countries in Africa. But we are a country of extremes. So a few people have a lot, and a lot of people have few. So there's
Okay.
a lot of disparity in Mozambique. We unfortunately are living some. There's a war going on now in the northern area of Mozambique, uh, related to the ISIS. So ISIS is in the northern area of Mozambique now, and there is an area where they found a big reservation of oil, of gas and oil. Um, so there's a lot of a military conflict happening there. So some instability, some fear all around the country. And in regards to COVID, we have COVID, especially in the big cities, in the large cities, in the capital, in Maputo, where I live. COVID is hitting quite hard, and it goes and comes. So at sometimes it's a peak, a big wave, and then it comes down. So it goes and goes.
Mm,
But yeah, but we are doing what we can, and our people is very, as yours, very family oriented, and people are very friendly and full of joy. People love dancing and partying. So I think and our weather is also amazing, and we have beautiful beach
right.
areas, a beautiful nature, beautiful animals. It's such an amazing country in that space of
Wow.
nature and wildlife. So uh, after this war and COVID is over, I would definitely recommend people to visit Mozambique. Uh, we have already another message coming in. I'm putting now on the screen. Very interesting conversation. Thank you. Um, yeah, so uh, let's talk about you now. Let's talk about who is your name is spelled pronounced Dedreck or Dedrick? Just
Dedrick,
to
but Dedrick is fine. It doesn't matter.
now I'm going to try and say it right. So Dedrick, so tell me a bit more about you uh, in a short introduction. Who is Dedreck Mose?
Sure. So I was born in American Samoa. I have such amazing parents. I am number three, and there's six of us. We only have one baby sister. She's the only girl. You can imagine that. So if you see me, I'm big and tall. That's literally the size of all of my brothers. And can you imagine like being a girl and a baby, And so that's my siblings. And so I'm a member of the Church of LDS. I completed all my high school. I did all my college, and I moved to Hawaii 2016, and that's where I kind of started on my platform on TikTok. I was working I was working two jobs when I was back home. I was working at the airport, and I was also doing caregiving. Like I worked with the elderly, just taking care of them and helping them with their everyday doings. And you know that so the airport is already physically demanding, physically draining, and then you come to do caregiving. Now you may think that dealing with kids is hard, but you try dealing with the elderly, it's even harder. Okay, it's mentally draining, it's overwhelming. But so I needed a remedy, right? So I needed something to get away from the real world, because the real world is just super crazy. So I found out about TikTok, and so I was like, maybe I love singing and dancing. I grew up singing and dancing. So me and my siblings, we sing all the time. So every time we would have, like, every day after dinner, we would gather around in front of our house, and we would bring out our guitar, and we would just start jamming. So I have my brother. He's younger than me. He's the one right below me. He would just play any tune, and then we would just like sing any song that would go with that tune, just one tune, and he would just like and we would just keep singing every single song that would match with the tune that he's playing. And so it was kind of like a remedy for all of us. We may had arguments throughout the whole day. We may have problems at school. We may have problems at work, but this is where we get rid of all of that. This is where we sort of like, okay, everything is done. The whole day is finished. Let's try and be happy, because music makes us happy. Dancing, we grew up dancing in church. We grew up singing in church, because we do so at church. We do a lot of international nights and Polynesian nights. So what that is we do performances from different cultures and different countries. We there are times where we did Africa, which is super amazing. We do India, and then we do Polynesian. So we do all different countries, and that's where my passion for dancing came. And of course, when you're blessed, with these talents, you can never go wrong with that. And you have to share it with the world, because that's it's a gift. So you have to share it with the world. And so I didn't know that people would actually relate and could actually because I have so many people that message me, oh my gosh, thank you so much for this performance. You've helped me so much. I've always, felt insecure and like I was always sad, but because of your video, I feel happy. And I didn't know that just dancing and just being positive would like, in all honesty, I didn't know that it would have that much effect on somebody. So when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, there are people out there that can actually relate to my situation. So I was consistently posting every single day. And so as I was doing that, more and more people started to interact and started following. And so that's kind of my journey as an influencer. And right now, it's just like everything is just going great. It's like my whole like it's a whole new turn in my life because I never thought I would be an influencer, to be honest. I never thought that I would. But right now, it's just like, but it's just gifts. God works in mysterious ways and then things just happen. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah. No, I want to dig deeper into that later on. But first, I would like also to go back into maybe your teenage years. Uh, as you were saying about living in a large family with six kids, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about that time in your 13, in your 15 years old. That was How was your life, and what type of personality you had? You always like loved dancing, music. Uh, were you into arts, into sports? Were you a very friendly people, or more lonely guy? Uh, Tell me a bit more about that.
Sure. During my teen years, I was super outgoing. Um, whatchamacallit. So I was never into sports, but I loved arts, dancing, and music. So I was super active in like school activities that has to do with speech festivals and all of that. I was super active in all of that because that's where my passion is. I was never into sports. Um, so as far as growing up in a family, my I don't know how they did it, but my parents, I've always they always amazed me. So we didn't have a lot of money. It was just my dad that was working because my mom, she has arthritis and she can't really do anything. So my mom has been a housewife and a mom. That was literally her job. My mom was a nurse before, but when she had my baby sister, that's when she stayed home and she took care of her, and that's when she stopped going to work. So my dad was the only one that was working, and it's just a miracle that my dad was able to provide for all six of us when he was the only one working. And so, as y'all I mean, it's not a surprise that I'm a member of the LGBTQ community. As far as that, I never had a hard time growing up. I mean, there were times where I had kids that like would bully me, but because I had like bigger brothers, so kids didn't really want to mess with me because I had them. And so I have a very close relationship with my siblings, especially my baby sister. My brothers are super supportive of me. My As far as my dad, he knows but doesn't talk about it. He just doesn't talk about it. But he knows, like, but it's not that he hates me, but it's just it's a subject that he would push to the side, but he would just love me because I'm his son, right? And so as for my mom has just been there like my entire life. And so I didn't really come out. I wasn't fully like um I didn't fully like dive into like the whole aspect of me being gay until I was in high school. That's when I really that's when like my blooming days, okay, if that's what they call it. But that's when that happened for me. And I surprisingly I still had the support of my friends and everyone. Like, it's so back home the LGBTQ community is welcome. Like they are so loved over there. Like there's no they don't face a lot of criticism there. There's a big society of the LGBTQ community back home, and they are loved even in the churches, even at work. There's no discrimination with the LGBTQ there. So it made me feel good, that because so we do a lot of outreaching activities. There's and like a lot of community projects. So we're very welcomed over there. But as far as anything, my teenage days were just like any typical teenager, you know. Like I was more at the time my grandmama was still alive. I was always with my grandmama, and I think that's where, um, like I started trying out makeup. I started trying on like jewelries and all of that. It was always with my grandma. So, whatchamacallit, that's really my teenage. That's really my days being a teenager. So yeah,
So
if
there's
that
another
answers your
comment
question.
for you. No, it does, for sure. So your flower is very beautiful. Isabel is saying that.
It's so okay. So
So tell
my
me about
grandmama. The
that
reason
flower.
why I have this flower, my grandmama never goes out the house without a flower, without a hibiscus this big on her hair. So that's where this comes from. So it's just a part of her that stays with me. So yeah.
We also
Oh,
have
thank
those
you,
flowers
thank
in
you,
Mozambique.
Isabel. Pardon?
We also have hibiscus in Mozambique.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, that's amazing. You know what? Let me tell
Yeah.
you this. I've never heard of your country, but just hearing you talk about it, it just makes me want to go there, you know? So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to ask you questions, but I do want to ask,
No,
what
please
is
do.
okay, um, what's it like what's the LGBTQ status within your country?
Okay, so that's actually a very good question. I was actually going to tell you about that. Here in Mozambique is quite different. So people are not that open. You know, it's starting to evolve in the last decades, I would say so. But it's still in the early stages of social acceptance and social normalization. So we are having some organizations now moving forward and pushing an agenda of equality, of laws, and breaking barriers and legislation, trying to create a more inclusive society. But we still have a very traditional mindset in Mozambique. So it's very family oriented, with a very strong and rigid tradition. We have a very strong influence also of a religion, especially Catholic and Muslim. We have a large Muslim community in Mozambique as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So those,
That makes a
yeah,
lot of
so
sense.
that's, yeah, so it's still in the early steps, but I would tell you it's much better than 10 years ago. So I'm most optimistic in that sense, because I see an evolution and I see a way forward. And it's not that people are violent or so. It's nothing like that. It's not
Oh, okay, that's
dangerous.
good. That's
it's
good.
like it's like your father in a way. It's people feeling uncomfortable, and people are pretending not to look and then commenting and gossiping. It's more subtle, you know. People try not to be uh, on a confrontational level, but it's on a gossip level, so people are still on that. And also, the worst space is always social media, so it's where people feel free to be trolls and idiots, you know, and say everything and say stupid things. So,
Right.
but we also have a few artists now who are coming out and saying, I am gay, I am lesbian, and they are also giving an important a contribution, I would say, to everybody watching and say, yeah, they are talented. I like their music. I like his work or her work. So it doesn't matter if he's or her are gay or not. So, but we still have a long way to go in that way,
Right.
being
Right.
honest. And that's also one of the reasons I wanted to have you here, because I think one of the missions of my platform is also to trying to build a better world and open people's minds. And having you here is also a way of us in Freestyle Talkz showing to Mozambican citizens and other African citizens. Look
Right.
at that look. He's amazing. He's doing an incredible work. He's talented, and he's gay. So he's a part of who he is. It's not a problem. It's his blessing, and he's light and he's shine. So that's also very important for us to give a small contribution to make it a little bit easier
Right.
and more
Right.
people. Yeah. Uh, we we have two more comments. Let me put them. Actually, three. So Isabel is saying that in Portugal. So Isabel is in Portugal. She's saying in Portugal there is also an evolution on this acceptance of the LG.
Oh,
Yeah, I always
that's amazing.
yes, I always mess the letters. So, but in Portugal, the situation is also improving. Um, and also, the other comment is Lami saying, You show us how to be happy and confident with ourselves. And thank you for that. You dance with passion. It's amazing.
Thank you,
And
Lamb. Is it Lamb?
Lam. Let me put it back. Lam, yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Lam is my wife, actually.
Oh, thank you.
And she's watching, yeah, on the other side. Uh,
Amazing.
and she's a big fan of yours.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, and Isabel is saying, unfortunately, also in Portugal, we still don't have 100% inclusive society. So it's still a long way to go. But I think a good message is that there is an evolution and a positive evolution. So we have reasons to keep pushing and to speed up this building of a better society.
Right.
One other thing I wanted to ask is, still going back to your early years, you were studying to become what at that time, at 16 or 17 or 18? What was your dream job, your profession you
Um,
wanted to be at that time?
Actually, ever since I was young, this was at a young age, and like I mentioned that my mom was a nurse, she has always been my inspiration. So I've always wanted to be a nurse. So I went as far as I was going to start on my, so ever since from kindergarten, that's something that I've always wanted to do. And then coming up to high school, I still wanted to be a nurse. And then right after I got into college, and that's when everything changed because I was no, actually I was gonna get my CNA, but on that week I was offered a job to in Hawaii. And so that was working with autistic kids. And like I've mentioned that back home, like everything is not that expensive back home. So the minimum wage was like $6. So when this lady told me that the pay they gave us in Hawaii was like 1,000 something over after 2 weeks, that's like $1 million to American Samoa, right? So I was like, and she was paying for my fare, right? She paid for my fare, and she offered me the place to stay. So I was like, why not? Like this is an opportunity of a lifetime. So I did it. So that's where I stopped. That's when I stopped pursuing after that goal. Um, and so I was just working. I stopped going to school. Like it's like all of a sudden I had these immediate needs that were demanding for money. And I couldn't go to school now that I had these responsibilities, if that makes sense. That now that there's a need for the money that I'm working for, I'm kind of trapped. So I can't just walk away from that now. Okay. So whatchamacallit. So that's what I've been doing. I started off working with autistic kids, and then I started working at a warehouse. I was really working a lot of jobs. I was just constantly looking for ways of making money. And if I could work 5 jobs and somebody could like make the hours work, I would definitely do that, because I'm very money driven, if that makes sense. And so what you call it? And so after that, um, just it was just okay. Um, I don't know if I'm supposed to. I don't know if this is the time to talk about this, but so going towards the ending of last year and the beginning of this year, I just had this feeling of abundance. It was just so weird. It's like it's while everything was going down, like while everything was like the government was collapsing and everything was like because of COVID, I just had this feeling that I had so much money. I just had this feeling that I was a billionaire, and it's so weird. So that's when I started introducing myself to meditation and manifestation. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. So before my thought of meditations and stuff, I thought it was like all like witch and like voodoo stuff. That was my thought. But somebody told me that manifestation and meditation, it's just clearing your conscious and just it's you don't have to. It's not that you're praying to the devil. It's if you believe in God, then that's who you're meditating. That's who you're manifesting your dreams to. The universe, whatever higher energy you believe in, that's what you're manifesting your dreams and whatever goals you have in life to. Okay. So as soon as I knew about that, I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of this? And it's every time I manifest, something happens. Every time I manifest, something happens. And which goes back to, like a lot growing up, a lot of people keep telling me, God hates you. God doesn't agree with your ways. But it's hard for me to see that because He keeps blessing me every single day. So I cannot like just so no matter what they tell me, I cannot hate somebody that's always gonna be there for me. You know what I mean? Like even on my rainy days, like I kind of feel down. Like even on days where I'm hopeless, I still keep my faith alive, because I know that He's working on something for me. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and that was kind of the journey of how I just came from being a nurse to being a financial advisor. So I prayed for an opportunity, right? I prayed for an opportunity, and I lost my job in December. But let me tell you, this is funny. So I got fired from my job, right? On that day I got fired, the night before, right? So this is before. Just the night before, I started on my registration to get my license to do Primerica. So I didn't know I was gonna lose my job. I was just gonna do it as a side thing. But right, it was. I signed up with Primerica the night at night, and I got fired from my job in the morning. So it's like when I got fired, I was like, okay, sometimes the things may happen, but it was either I walk away before I get hurt or, because things happen for a reason. So I just couldn't see, because I had this feeling of abundance and this feeling of riches, I just couldn't look at it negatively, if that makes sense. So
Yes,
that was just how powerful this feeling is. So
I want to know more about that feeling of abundance. And can you explain me at the first time you felt it? How was it, and what was it in some
it was,
practical examples? Yeah.
oh, sorry. So so the thing is, I kept talking to my sister. I kept talking to my siblings about it. I kept talking to my siblings, and I just kept telling them, you know what? It's so weird. I have this feeling. So it's like something. It's like there's money. I'm trying to figure out a way to say it. So it's like I know that tomorrow money is coming. If that makes sense. It's like I feel it. It's like I don't know, but it's like I feel it. If that makes sense. It's like it's not guaranteed, but like I know it's like it's just a different feeling. I've never felt that way before. And I keep and every time I feel it, I talk to my siblings about it. It's like, I just keep getting this feeling that I'm gonna be rich, and that's how I say it. And and I am on my Facebook post, I keep like every time I feel it, I post, I'm good. This is good. So I don't post that I feel like I'm gonna be rich one day. I post and I say, I'm going to be rich one day. Like, so that's attracting it. And it's happening, like whatchamacallit. I didn't know that this year I was gonna hit 1 million followers. And when I hit that 1 million followers, it's like a lot of opportunities have opened. You know, whatchamacallit, like this opportunity. Like who would have thought like I would, be asked to be a guest on your live, and it's amazing, like um I would never thought I would know about your country, and so these are little opportunities. And the one thing about me is that I never turn down an opportunity, money paid or not paid, right? I just it's just amazing. We're all learning as we're growing, and this is all new for me. So it's really happening. I don't know if you've seen, but I just signed uh a partnership campaign with Fenty. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Fenty. Fenty Skin, Rihanna's product. So I just signed uh, um, a contract with her, and that's amazing. Like this is the first time from back home. Anybody, I'm like, I don't know if there's anyone from back home that's ever gone this big. Like there are Samoan people, but they are not from back home. Like they may be Samoan, but they were born in like Australia or they were born in like America. But like this is the first time anybody has ever like from Samoa, like from home where I'm from, has made it this big. Like it's big opportunities, and I'm always gonna attract it. I'm always gonna attract it, and I love it. So going back to what you were asking, it was going towards the ending of last year and the beginning of this year. I just had this feeling that money is coming. Like I'm going to. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just that's just. I
No,
think
no,
that's
I get
kind of like,
that.
yeah,
But yeah, it's like a certainty. It's something that it's stuck in your mind. I know it will happen, and I can feel it, and because I can feel it, I know it's real. I kind of
yeah.
get that part. My follow up question on that is that are you learning how to make it happen? Are you investing in yourself? Are you studying? Are you trying to find ways and strategies to actually make money, or are you living your passions and not thinking about money? But by doing that, you always have that thing on the back of your mind that it's coming. Or are you educating yourself and creating strategies to make it happen faster?
Thank you so much for that question. That's actually something I've been struggling with this whole month and the month before. So I just have the feeling, but it's like I I'm like a chicken running without a head. If you know what that means. It's like I have this feeling, but I don't know how to do it. So like piece by piece, I'm putting things together. Like I just started on my merchandise on my store that I just did. So that's one of the things that I did everything. I had a friend. So here's the thing. I have people that reach out to me out of nowhere and they're like, I would love to help you do this. So someone helped me do my someone showed me how to do my merchandise, and I'm about to launch my merchandise as soon as, so I'm just waiting for the stuff to come in so that way I can test it myself, and then I'm going to launch the merchandise. So these are people I don't even know, like I've never met before, but they call me and they're like, oh my gosh, I saw your stuff and I would really love to help you, like to get your stuff, but they're doing it. So this lady, I think she wanted to connect with me because she saw that there's like a potential, so she helped me started on that. As far as my being a financial advisor, it's a whole new era for me. Like I mentioned, like before, I it wasn't my plan to be in the finance field. I hate numbers. In all honesty, I hate numbers. Like I had to take, like when I was in college, I had to take basic algebra 3 times. 3 times I had to take it. Okay, and so that's just how I suck at math. Just how much I hate math. And so right now, I have to love math because it's now introduced to me in a way where I need it. Like we use money every single day, and you so I you it's something that you have to understand, like investments and all of that, how your taxes are being paid. So whatchamacallit, it's I've been struggling a lot. It's like I can't, especially now that I have like this big following, it's becoming an addiction. Like my phone is becoming an addiction. So it's like I can't stay off. It's like I'm constantly, but I am doing something like so if I know that I'm gonna be stuck on my phone, then I have to post content. At least do something while I'm on it. So but it's still a bad thing because I can't find the separation between being a social media influencer and being a financial advisor. I can't find the separation. So it has been a struggle because there's a whole lot I have to learn being a financial advisor. You know, I had to learn a whole lot. It's a whole new system for me. So, but like I mentioned earlier, it's just a lot that's happening. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm excited, and I don't know what the first thing to do is, if that makes sense. So that's just kind of where I'm at right now. But you know, I'm like I mentioned earlier, I'm learning. This is all new for me. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, I learn every single
No,
day.
I totally understand that. And one thing I relate with, because I have other people around me who are living that, is the conflict of having two very different profiles of jobs. Social media influencer and the type of social media influencer you are. Very outspoken, very bold, it doesn't match clearly with being a financial advisor at, at the first glance, idea. So it's not an immediate match in our minds. And I think it's very interesting and fascinating that because it brings a disruption to the market. Then you can have a niche of doing things differently and shocking
Yes.
people. So let me show you one thing I have in my wall here, because I have this. I don't know if you can see. I have this here in the back. Where is it? So this
I
one
see it.
starts with Y. So this is something I'm very much into strategy, and I'm educating myself a lot and learning a lot on how to become more strategic and how to use strategy to make money, but also to be more efficient and finding a purpose and doing what I love and by doing that making money. And one thing I would definitely recommend you is really try to, if you allow me, it's an advice, and you didn't ask,
Yeah, please.
but
I would love that.
I'm going to share it. No, it's really try to find that your core thing, your core passion, what really drives you, really deep down, you know, and with that or based on that, you can build the other businesses you have to manifestate that and to really make that into a living concept. So what I see now in people like you who are very creative is the temptation of doing all different things. It's the art, is the dancing, is the singing, is the money, is the exploring. Social media is now being a brand ambassador. So a lot of different opportunities are coming. And your next challenge is finding a way to connect them in a way that makes sense. And you can do 10 different things, but all sending the same message, all sending and sharing the same values and the same principles. It's really aligning things and putting them into a purpose and a why. So it's really about finding your why and then finding ways to express your why. So I do believe in doing a lot of things, but I'm a true believer in doing different things, but all aligned with the purpose, with the mission, and with the goal. And it makes things much more clearer and and efficient, managing time, managing expectations, and having a clear path of what you want to do and where you want to go.
That's actually very amazing. That sounds really good because like I felt like it's something that I have to do. I mean, it's something I had to do. And I love that you mentioned that I have to like find the connection in what I do because you're definitely right. So for TikTok, I can't really post anything about my business on TikTok because I'm on TikTok. It's just one. I'm focused on one specific niche. So the thing with TikTok is if I post if I were to go ahead and post something about my business on TikTok, they're not gonna push it out because they're not familiar because that's not my niche, right? And that's why I only post stuff about my business on Instagram because Instagram kinds of like, it's a free, like ev- everyone can see it, but for TikTok, it's a hit or miss. Like, uh, only when I post stuff that's related to my specific niche, which is about self love and just loving yourself, they'll push it out, and which makes a lot of sense because somebody, I don't know if you heard of Gary Vee, but he's a multimillionaire, but he said something that's really stuck to me. He said that you do the things that you love the most, and money will follow. And that's just like stuck to me. So it's like that's just been something that stuck to me. And when you said that you have to find the connection with everything that you do, and everything will flow, that makes so much sense right now. And they say that all things happen for a reason. So it's not a coincidence that you came across my video because, like, I needed this advice today. You know what I mean? So thank you for that. That's very amazing.
No, I'm also learning this. I'm also improving myself. I'm also trying to become better in what I do. And this is my wall of knowledge and inspirations. So I always have some very useful tips there. Another thing I would also like to share with you is a quote I recently learned, and I also have it in my wall, is that if you want to make money, we are taught to in school and in families that we study and educate ourselves, and then we find a job and we make money, and then we retire, and then it's life after that, right? So we are taught that money comes from work, from as the harder you work, the more money you'll get paid. But actually, in real life, people who are the most richest people in the world, their mindset and their approach was radically different. So the way to make money is to solve problems. It's really that simple in a way. So what you should do, and I think if you look at your example and the feedback you have from people is that, oh my God, you changed my life. Oh my God, you gave me trust. You gave me confidence to accept myself and to embrace who I am. So you are helping people solving their problems, their insecurities, their issues. So that's your medicine, your solution. It's what you offer and what you actually bring to the table. So what you should do is really, in my opinion, is dig into that space. So I can help you finding self-love, confidence, building and fighting for your dreams. But I can do that in different ways. I can do it from a money perspective. I can do it from an inner love perspective. But once again, the most important thing is that DNA is very aligned. Is I'm all about building you. I'm all about solving your issues and building you to go and conquer the world. But really, this sentence is very powerful. If you want to make money, solve people's problems. And if you start looking at the world from that perspective, it really changes the entire game in a way.
I love that. I love that very much. I'm so happy
Yeah.
that I had this interview because I really needed to hear that, to be honest. So
No,
that's
I'm really
amazing.
happy. No, I'm happy too. Uh, and what are your dreams now? What are
Oh,
your big dreams, your big projects? Because I can imagine a mind like yours is bubbling with ideas and projects and dreams.
so my biggest, so like I mentioned earlier when I first started, we're all about our families, right? So my biggest dream now, my goal the dream that's the goal right now is to take care of my parents. So what I want to do with them is I want to buy them a house in Hawaii and then buy them a car, just to make sure everything is taken care of for them. They don't have to worry, they don't have to stress, nothing. Whatever they may need, they're taken care of. That's my biggest dream. That's the first thing I want to do. And then I want to take care of all my siblings' problems. I want to pay for all their debts, and I want to make sure that they're, because you know, so we were a very close knitted family, right? So we grew up together. As still right now we're still close, but we just live apart, and that's because we have to work. We have to work to provide for ourselves. And so my biggest goal is I want to pay off their debts, pay off their mortgage, whatever the stuff they need. That's how big of a dream that I have right now. And just so that we can all enjoy life together, just so that we can all travel together, we can all enjoy it. Why go by yourself when you can actually take your siblings and your parents? Like my parents aren't getting any younger, so that I have to work to get there. You know what I mean? And then after that, so my biggest project that I'm trying to work on right now is I want to host like an annual gala, and like it's like every year it's going to be at a different state or a different country. And what I want to do is I want to like do host a ball for like all the LGBTQ kids that were neglected and that weren't able to make it to their senior balls or junior proms or whatever they didn't make. I want to pay for all of their stuff, to like their makeup, their clothes, and like this, and then just have like a whole room where they can just come in and choose whatever they want, and that counts for a lot of money. But that's how big of a dream that I have right now. So that's kind of what I want to do. And when you have all that money, I guess you can, just saying that you want to dream big doesn't matter anymore, because you can do whatever you want, you know?
And I have because you have a profile of showbiz 100%. Will I see you on TV, movies, theater? Is that on your mindset, on your horizon?
Oh, yeah. There are opportunities that I'm waiting for, but it's gonna happen. So
I know, I can tell. It's very clear. It's very clear it's gonna happen. Yeah, and that's why I asked you, because it's clearly you have a TV face and you have a cinema personality. It's on your face. It's all of you.
Well, thank
you
you.
are made to be on the big screen. Listen, Dedreck, we'll be waiting to hear more from you. We are very excited to. I have a feeling that this is our first interview and conversation, and we will invite you again. I'm pretty sure, because I have a feeling you have a lot of things coming. And you are full of promise and hope and life inside of you. So I can sense a lot of good things happening in your life in the next future. So I will keep a door open to have you again. And we are very excited to follow your path, follow your journey. And also, let me invite my viewers also to follow your Instagram once again. So follow Dedreck on Instagram, and through Instagram, you can follow his other social platforms and know more about his work and his incredible talents, with an S in the end. And yeah, so when I would like to ask you a final words, maybe sharing some inspiration for people who are still hidden and still in the closet and still feeling misunderstood in the world, especially as you are speaking to Mozambique. Imagine if someone who is a boy who is gay and is not feeling finding space to be himself, or a girl who's lesbian and she's still hidden. What can you share? What can you tell to them? But first,
sure.
Let me also send here a final message. So Isabel is thanking us, and she loved the conversation.
You're most welcome, Isabel.
Yeah. So please.
So the thing is the first thing is we're not bad people. You know, like we're not as bad as the world may say that we are. We're actually very loving people. And for me, I have a lot of friends, right? And I can honestly say that I love all of them. And I've never gotten to know people that has bad relationships with me. I only get hate from people who don't know me because they judge. Because once they see me that I'm gay, and then all of a sudden they hate me. But for the people that I've come to know and that have come to meet, we all have really good relationships. Everybody that I've met in life we're also connected as of now. We're not trying to push an agenda. The only reason why we try to fight for our freedom is because there's just so much hate crimes that are happening right now. You know, it was such a tragedy that I don't know if you guys are familiar with what happened to he was I forgot his name, but I don't know if you've read the story, but he the family found out the reason why he left the military, and because he came out as gay. And so what had happened was the family took him and and murdered him, and just because of being good, just because he was good, like now the biggest sin now is he is murdering, is killing, he didn't deserve to go through that, and we're not trying to come up to you and say, hey, you got to be good. No, 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 that's not our message. Our message is we want equality as everybody else, and we're gonna keep fighting it because there's still hate crimes happening every day. That's the only reason why we're fighting for it. We're not bad people, and so if you're still in the closet, that's kind of hard. It's a hard subject for me to talk about because I didn't have to come out to my family. My so I knew. Listen, I knew that I liked the boys as soon as I got into first grade. Okay, like I had, you know what I mean. So I didn't have to come out to my family. So I don't want to say that it's okay to come out, and then I don't really understand. But you actually have a lot of options. You can either talk to a closest relative, like an aunt. We all have that auntie that that you talk to about your secrets. You have a close grandmama or your grandma, or a friend, a super close friend that you can come out to. That's the only way to do it. But take your time. There's really no rush. You don't want to come out and then things go bad. So just take your time. And just, we're all about love. We're trying to, that's what we're trying to fight for here. So, whatchamacallit, the message is just as pure as that. So, yeah, that's just my
And
answer to
that's a great message. And you have here a final message from Lam, thanking you and saying you inspire us, and you are blessed, and you bring such a good energy. Keep doing what you love with passion. As we're doing it right
thank you,
now.
Lam. Thank you so much. You guys are a blessing.
Thank
You
you.
guys are both a blessing to each other. That's so amazing. I can just tell.
We are. I'm a lucky man. I admit that publicly. I am. But so, Dedreck, let's keep in touch, okay? And let's keep
Yes, most
following
definitely.
each other, because I definitely feel good things coming, exciting opportunities coming. So the doors here at Freestyle Talks are always open for you if you want to share
Gotcha.
any new projects, any new things coming. You have always a space here, and reach out, let us know, and we'll make it again. If not, we will reach to you and saying, hey, we saw this and we would like to bring you back
I'd
to
love
share
that.
this.
Yeah. And maybe one day, at least when I want to, or sorry, what's the name of your country again?
Mozambique.
Mozambique?
Mozambique, yes.
Mozambique. Okay. Maybe one day, when we decide to come over there for vacation, we have friends over there now. So
And we could do a live workshop. That would be something really nice. A workshop on
that'll be
self
amazing.
love.
So,
Think about that and maybe build something around that. And
gotcha.
let me also tell you that one powerful way of helping people is to talk about things. Because hearing other people talking, having discussions like this, are important for people to have a normalization and seeing that other people are like me and that I'm not the only one, I'm not isolated. So just feeling and knowing other people who love like we love or who have the same color or the same uh, religion as we do makes us feel part of a community, and that always comforts us. So I think it's very good having this conversation. We received now a final message from Mia. It is in Portuguese, this message about, and she's saying she loved the idea of doing a workshop in Mozambique. So maybe it's something really to think about after COVID when things are calm, or do it remotely. So maybe I'll get back to you soon on something about that. Okay?
Gotcha.
So, Dedreck, thank you very much. Have a blessed weekend and keep inspiring us and keep doing your amazing work. And here at Freestyle Talks, we are your fans and we encourage our viewers to become your followers. So, stay safe, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate being on here. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you. We keep in touch. Bye bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
So that was our conversation with Dedreck Mose, the Samoan Unicorn from Samoa. He's a lot of things, but above all, he's a very talented guy and he's very passionate and full of light and energy. And it's fascinating also to meet people who are at this stage of finding their purpose and their place in life. And he's doing that. He knows what he's living and the opportunities. He knows who he is. And it's a very exciting moment of a discovery and of alignment and of purpose and of growth and personal development. So definitely a very interesting conversation, and really thank you for tuning in and joining us. If you are new, once again, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can always be alert. We'll be back next Friday, May 21. We'll be talking with a Portuguese model, DJ, celebrity, personality, Merche Romero. It will be 6 p.m. Mozambican time, so we'll see you there. Meanwhile, make sure to subscribe and to check the other lives in our channel, in our platform, and stay safe and have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you again in a week's time, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Tama.